We love to get started on time, and we've got Payal with us. So, today we're going to be talking about self reflection, your mantra to being successful, with Payal Nanjiani, who's a world renowned leadership speaker. So, have you ever thought about why some people or how some people are super successful, both professionally and personally? Have you wondered? I mean, at least I wonder, what makes them successful? And success is from within. And one tool that believes in, and we'll talk about this, is self reflection. So, this is our target series for 2022, in which we're going to talk about topics which actually help you make self breakthroughs. And self reflection is one way to achieve such a breakthrough. Payal Nanjiani is a top leadership speaker and one of the world's renowned leadership experts who to date has helped million people, I mean, that's a huge number, and numerous organizations to succeed against all odds. She's a New York award-winning author of leadership books. She has been featured extensively for her work on leadership on America's Fox 50 news channel, Mumbai Mirror, global magazines, and multiple worldwide media. She has been honored as the only Indian American woman to be a powerful leadership speaker and author in America. So, Payal, a very, very warm welcome. We're so excited to have you here. And on a personal note, we feel that Sipping Thoughts is going global as we're getting more and more global experts on our platform. Payal, you're muted.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sukriti. It's such an honor to be here and amongst these lovely audiences. You're doing a great job of bringing all the women together. And thank you for the wonderful introduction. I must say, even my mom would not introduce me so well like you've done. And I just want to tell the audience that my name is Payal and I am your friend and your mentor. And that's exactly what I would like to do today, is just to talk to you and to mentor you.
So, Payal, let's talk about this topic because we had so many topics that we could choose from, but this was something you were very, very passionate about. That self reflection is the topic that we should go with. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, sure. Before I say something, I'm going to just piggyback on what you said about your health. So I have very, very recently recovered from the flu, the Omicron, the COVID, whatever you call it. So in case you feel my voice cracks in between or I cough, kindly excuse me for that. So going to this topic, Sukriti, like you said, why this topic? What happens is most of the people in the world, they don't realize that whatever has got us to where we are today, that's not going to be the same the way forward. And working with very high profile leaders and CEOs, I have seen that most of them are under pressure to deliver results from the day that they start their positions, and it's emotionally draining. And so that's the reason I really focus on this topic of self-reflection and how it helps you to actually, how slowing down, taking a step back is actually the mantra to move ahead in your life with speed.
But that's so hard, even though everybody tells us this, but we feel that we need to run a million miles an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's very counterintuitive in the business world. What we read in the business magazines, what we read on Google is often not the things that are being practiced, by successful leaders. And working closely with them, I see there is a huge difference between what we read on these platforms versus what they actually practice.
Well, it's good now. We're going to get straight to that cusp of the truth. But what is the
True.
biggest issue? And, especially because we are a platform that focuses a lot on women. And what is one of the biggest issues that you see facing women and growth?
Um, I can think on top of my mind of a couple of them, and I'll run by it quickly. Number one is stagnation. Research has shown and proven that women are more skilled at their work, they are more, whether it comes to education, credentials, skill, they have a lot of them, a lot of it in them. However, after some years, you will see that a woman's growth always stagnates, whether in business or in the corporate world. And they tend to hold on to their promotions, to their growth. There is a lot, when I coach women specifically, I tell them about the difference between a man's thinking and a woman's thinking in the business.
Is there a
But here's
difference?
one.
Because this is a
It's
question that we constantly get
Yes,
asked.
absolutely there is. There is a lot of difference in the way men think at work and the way women think at work. And because my work exposes me more to working with men, I'm able to take that and share it with the women. And when I say thinking, I'm not saying that there is a right or a wrong thinking. The thinking is great for both of them. But what happens is, in the business world, we've got to accept this fact that there are more men, whatever it is. We are still working on those numbers of gender biases and everything, but we need to accept that there are more men. So, for example, I'll give you a very quick one. I always tell women that business, but women don't tend to talk in the language of business. So what happens is we go round and round and round to explain that same thing, and a man would say it in one sentence that hits the nail. So that's the type of difference I'm speaking about when I say a difference in the way they think.
And I think this
And the
also comes
second
into our personal life because we tend to also go round and round an issue rather than pointing at it directly.
Yes, and let me tell you, Sukriti, in some of the cases it works very well, especially when you are giving a feedback, to your client or to an employee, where you really don't want to make sure that it just hits the nail all of us. That's the time it works, but you need to know how to have a balance of both at the workplace. And the second thing I have seen that really is an issue with women. Maybe with men also, but it's about dreaming big. I've often seen women, when they come to me for the coaching, they are playing small. Can I do this? Should I do this? Will it affect my work? Will it affect my family? Can I do this, or should I do this? So they're always in that mode of asking, and in the mode of getting approvals, because of which they fail to dream big, in spite of having the potential, in spite of having everything that it takes to get there.
Now, my next question, because you work with a lot of women at the global level. So you're seeing this also happening in the US, you're seeing this happen almost everywhere. So it is not like this situation is unique to India or to any specific country.
There are certain things which are unique to India. When I came to India last year, I did, and usually I used to travel to India every year for work purposes, to deliver lectures or coachings. But now that I have been here for a year, I have seen that there are certain elements which are unique to us as compared to the Western world. One of them being the household work. That's something I have observed, that it is very much yet on the shoulders of the women, as it's still taken as that, okay, you've come back from work, you may be a CEO in a company, you may be running a huge business, you may have your own dreams, but then that differentiates, it is seen inside and outside of their home. So I think that one thing I found is unique. And the other thing I found very nice is, there's a lot of talks, just like you're doing, a lot of focus on women here. And I think that's a very, very proud thing to be, that we are focusing on women growth, their businesses, their leadership. And I think that's amazing right now that's happening here.
Well, fantastic, Payal. Now over to you. I know everybody wants to get into the topic of self-reflection, so I'm excited to turn it over to you.
Sure. And thank you so much. Those were such insightful questions to start with, Sukriti. So let me get to know the audience a little bit, because here's something I want to share with all of you. So I'm not here with any PowerPoints or something, except just a couple of slide decks. So the more you and I can engage, the more it's going to be fun. I want to get to know you. So here's a deal between all of us. Okay, so in case you feel that there is something that I have said and you are resonating with it, or you have experienced it, or someone who has experienced it, here's what I want you to do. Just go ahead in the chat box and put a thumbs up, or a yes, or some emoji that tells me, oh, I'm not alone in this, or my client was not alone in this. Everyone is going through it, so I can speak a little bit more about it, because I usually talk on how the chat boxes are going. I just have a couple of notes mentioned here, so let's keep that on. You all are an engaging audience. Okay, I see those coming up. Great. So let me ask you some questions here to get to know you more. How many of you find yourself not growing at your work, whatever you do, whether it's a business or you're working in a corporate? How many of you would say that you do not find yourself growing the way you should at your work? Anyone, any thumbs up over here? Any yeses in the house here? Okay. Now let me ask you this. How many of you know that you could be more impactful at your work than you are now? You just feel that I really could be more important. Okay. And someone said, I'm just starting off with my business. Great. Okay. Okay. Last question. That will really give me a good idea about the audience. Just based on what you are replying, let me ask you one more. How many here believe that you could? Okay, listen to this very carefully. How many of you here believe that you could and should be doing a lot better than you are right now? How many of you? Okay, I see a lot more stronger ones here. And the reason I asked you this is because it helps to know where you are in your business, in your career. How many of you have some goals? Give me a yes. Just some, that you really have some goals for your professional life, your business, your careers. Okay, I love those big yeses coming. You know what is reminding me of? I'll share an incident with you, okay, that I remembered. Some years back, this is just before the pandemic hit, okay? Before the pandemic hit, I met Akansha when I had come to India. She's and this happened before the pandemic. Okay, so I met Akansha. She's an entrepreneur who supplied paper products to restaurants. So when the economy was booming, her business was doing great, and she had a few great clients to whom she would supply these paper products and like these disposables, and she would get a really great income from what I could see. So while she met me at one of my sessions, that time I was invited here to do one public session. So I just asked her, I said, tell me, Akansha. She came up to meet me specifically. So I said, tell me, what are your future plans? And, she really told me that vision of how she wants to take her business and really grow it in different ways. And she told me a couple of her plans, which of course I cannot share it because she's still in the business. And she said that she wants to grow her business and be known in this industry as an expert. And I asked her, I said, okay, has she started working on this vision? And her answer was something I will always remember. She said, no, not now, Payal. I will work on it when the time is right. As of now, I am so busy with my current clients. Things are going great with my current clients. And I'm just totally focused there. So later, I'm sure the time will be right. Now, I'm not saying that one must not focus on their current clients or anything like that, or be not satisfied with what you've got. What amused me is that, or what still amuses me even now, is that people have extraordinary dreams, okay, which is uphill here. And their plans they have the plans up here. Their habits and their thinking is way down here. And that begins to create the gap between that goal that you told me, yes, I have a goal, and where you are currently. And it doesn't allow them to win. So, anyways, I later on, I met Akansha again this time because, she had always kept in touch with me. So this time when I came to India and I had an opportunity to talk to her, I asked her the same question, that how things were in her business for her and her future business plan. And this time around, she answered saying It's just not the right time for me, Payal. In fact, business has slowed down considerably and I am barely making a living. And her situation was truly bad. My point here, my friends, of sharing this real life incidents with you is that the reason why this gap exists, that we all know our vision of our business, for our growth, for our corporate, going through the ranks, why this gap doesn't close for many and we find ourselves stuck, is because of the time that we take from ideation to execution. I really want you to catch these words. The time that we take from ideation to execution. And our ordinary habits prevent us. If at that time, the question I had asked Akansha, if at that time she would have executed her ideas parallelly during the boom period, rather than being complacent with her current clients, I can almost assure each of you in this room here, things would have been much better for her during the pandemic. I really want each of you to reflect and think about this. How many of us are like Akansha? We hit a plateau, We are so busy delivering day to day with our clients and planning and everything that we forget that there's a parallel road to open up in our careers, in our business, and everything. How many of you, because see, I've been there. I will be very transparent. I have been there. I have hit a plateau. If I had to tell you all the stories, I would be sitting here for hours. So, but I do write many of my real life stories and the stories of my clients in my books. But how many of you have either hit a plateau or you're going to hit a plateau? How many of you here? Any yeses? That you feel that, oh yeah, I'm doing everything, I'm doing everything. And I'm working hard. I take care of the house. I do everything, but the needle doesn't move significantly. And you know someone who is like, okay, and you look at that person and you feel, why are they not growing? I mean, come on, you could really, you could do this, you could do this. We have all those ideas for that one person, but for ourselves, okay, love those answers coming up on the chat. But I've been there quite a number of times in my career, in my business. Before I could become, known in that in this field, it was quite a lot of plateau. And plateaus are not just one time. I still hit it. And then I have to think, okay, this is how I need to navigate it. It doesn't stop. Okay. Now, the incidents that happened early on, in my own career or this. Now, let me tell you something. One of the questions that usually people ask me, and I've written this down, I thought I should share this with you. This is one question that people usually ask me, is that, Payal, if you were to say one quality that is most important for anyone to be a great leader, what would that quality be? And my friends, if I could just come out of the screen and if I was, offline and live with you, and if I could just come into your lives and talk to you one-on-one, like I would do in my live session, and tell you that one quality that you, me, and everyone has to really imbibe and embrace if you want to succeed in what you're doing, it's your ability to grow. And coaching some of these world-class leaders and entrepreneurs, I have seen that they all focus on growth. And to grow and for you to not hit a plateau, you've got to realize the importance of self-reflection as a great leadership tool. And the reason I say leadership, because I have always emphasized on this word. Before you're an entrepreneur, before you are anything, you've got to be a great leader. Always remember this one thing, my friends. Businesses never die. It's you as a leader who dies from within. See, the business doesn't have that power. Businesses never slow down. It's you as a leader who slows down. So that's something that you always want to remember, that before you are anything, you are definitely a leader. Now, what is self-reflection? When I say self-reflection, what is self-reflection? Okay. Now, here's what I want you to read about it. Self-reflection is an art. Okay, it's an art of zooming out and zooming in at regular intervals. It's an art of zooming out of your business, of your career, of your growth, taking a big picture, like we call it the helicopter view of your project, of your career, of anything that you want. It's from years I have been talking about this with people. And then when you're able to see that helicopter view from outside and you're like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And you've got all that you wanted, all those ideas, you've changed your values, you worked on something, then zoom in and see the difference. Okay. Here's something else I want to show you on the slide. When I talk about self-reflection, the reason I say about self-reflection is because we really spend a lot of time on how and what we need to learn, what skill sets, what credentials, but we don't spend enough time knowing what and how to transform ourselves. And that's something that is a true core of leadership, of self-reflection. Okay. So going ahead, here's what I want to tell you. It's all about reflective thinking. Take it in that way. Okay. Take it in a way that it's all about reflective thinking. Okay. How do you understand your underlying beliefs, your assumptions, your values, what works for you and what does not? How do you understand problem solving? Do you know what influences your decision making in the business and in your career? Maybe you could write this down, something that I wrote down for you. I thought you could benefit from it. To get what you want, you must change who you are. This is not my quote. To get what you want, you must change who you are. And that's the reason self-reflection becomes very imperative. I pulled out one card for you all. I thought that could be useful. Whenever I like something, what someone says, I usually come back and I put it on this index card, and then I laminate it. And then when I'm speaking to, intellectual people like all of you, I like to pull this out and share. So this happened while playing golf with one of the executives. And while we were on the golf field, I generally asked him, he was at that time very young, 45-year-old, and a very successful business. So I just asked him, I said, so tell me, if I was to ask you, what is the reason that you would say for your success at this young age, what would you say? And he said this, and I liked it. He said, Payal, successful people become great leaders when they learn to shift the focus from the outside to the inside of themselves. Isn't that something to sink inside of us? Each of us needs to let this sink inside. Successful people become great leaders when they learn to shift the focus from the outside to the inside of themselves. How do you do that? I know my time with you is limited, and I definitely want to have more Q&A and discussion with you. So let me very quickly take you through one of the methods that I have. It's called priming. So far, I don't know how many of you have ever followed my work or read my books, but if any of you have, you know that my team does a lot of research, and most of my work is based out of quantum physics, the science of the brain, and the behaviors of leaders. When we coach them or when I speak at corporates, we pick up these behaviors and we work on them. So far, I have derived 21 tools of priming, and we are still working on more. But all of this is very scientifically based. Priming is basically nothing but conditioning yourself and conditioning your own mind for success. It's very imperative. Usually what happens is, in the business world, we are always taught to get to the skills, to get to the credentials, more and more of your skill set. And that's how the business world and the corporate world is shaped. So you will read about it everywhere. What we don't focus on, and it is something I had picked up while coaching someone from NASA. is that we don't allow ourselves, to be conditioned for success. And it's very imperative for a very scientific reason. I will tell you the scientific reason very quickly. When all of you told me yes for the goals, I could sense that energy was very high, that of course I have my professional goal, my corporate goal, my business goal, whatever. That energy level was very high. Okay. So what happens is, our prefrontal cortex, okay, the prefrontal cortex is where, when you are making the goals and everything, it really starts to stimulate it. Okay, that's where you start feeling that rush, that, oh yes, it's a new job, a new location, or a new business, or a new idea. What we tend to forget as leaders is that this is the same area of the brain where emotions are generated. Doubts, self-doubts, anxiety, fear, passion, joy, any of your emotions. Okay, that also impacts the decision making. Okay, so that also impacts the decision making, which means that's the reason why we are seeing so many people have the goals. They know exactly what they want, but they are not able to get there. This area plays a lot of havoc. Okay, and you got to know how to work on it. So here's what I want you to do. I will take you through one priming method today very quickly, with an assurance that if you work towards it, you will definitely be able to at least see the changes, immediate changes. Okay, and I'm reading some of the questions come here. I will definitely take it up on after I've explained this. So this priming is called ICL, which is internal locus of control. It's not a part of any book yet. It will be a part of the fourth book that is coming up. So when you read the fourth book, you can always say, oh my God, this is so simple. Everyone could know this because you already know it. Okay, so ILC is basically internal locus of control, where you see the big picture. Like you said, I have my goal. I usually tell people not to stick to goals. Okay, goals are very narrowed, very short. Okay, you need to figure out a vision that you have. Okay, if you want to really get to where you want, don't get into just goal setting. Get into the vision, the big picture that you want to see for your work, wherever you are, and then break it down. So that breaking down process is the goal setting, which is called chunking. Okay, I won't get too much into the technical aspects, like we do in our coaching, but here's the thing. Here's something I want you to do. If you have a paper, pen, something, just grab it, or your phone, and just write this down. I want you to actually write down your goal statement. Okay, I'm talking about goal to you because we haven't discussed about vision. So if you were to write down one goal that you aspire to achieve in your business, in your career, in a very near future, what would that goal look like? Very quickly, just write it down. And then later on, you can go and work on it and make it more appropriate. Oh, I like someone who said, I'm discussing the same vision versus goals. Yes, there is such a huge difference between them. And someone said, can you give an example of your own life of how you did? Oh, yes, absolutely. I will give it after I complete this. Okay, so if you have that one goal statement that you've written, the next step I want you to do is, I want you to write down 3 things that you must absolutely focus on to achieve your goal. So for example, if you've written, oh, I want to be a director at this company, or I want to be a CEO at this company, or I want to get my business to the certain level. What are the 3 things you must take care of? Some people say, oh, it's the finance, some say it's the networking. What are your 3 things that you must absolutely, or you can say 3 elements, or, 3 that you must absolutely focus on? Without that, achieving your goal will be impossible. Okay. And I want you to look at that list and give me a yes in the chat box if any of you wrote your name on those 3 things that you must focus on. Anyone? Or maybe you may have not written it as number 1, but you wrote it somewhere on that list. Nice. I see some yeses coming. Okay. Anyone else who has written or not written? If you have not written, then we have not written. Okay, great. So there's a good mixture of yes and no. And the reason I asked you to do this is because you've got to focus more on the being rather than the doing. This is something I had spoken on the WRAL news channel while in the US, that we've got to focus more on the being than we are doing on the doing. So you've got to really think of 3 questions that you want to ask yourself every time. And that's something I've written down. Number 1, who am I? Okay, now, as simple as it sounds and as philosophical as this question sounds, guess what? This is the opening chapter of my second book that was out, and it became one of the major chapters to catch tractions among senior leaders. As philosophical as this question sounds, you've got to know your strengths, your qualities, your differentiators in the market. What's your vision like? Who are you? So when you ask, and this one question changes your introduction to the people. There's a process I tell when I sit in the coaching, that how are you introducing yourself? And if you're going to say, oh, you know what, I am a businesswoman, that's not who you are. This one single question that I had started the book with gained so much traction. Your strengths, your qualities, your differentiators, my friends, what is it that you are known for? And this is very imperative in your career, whether you're a business owner or whether you are working in a corporate. You don't go around saying, oh, I'm the director of this, I'm a director at Google. Who cares? So here's the second question I wanted to focus on. Where am I going? Where am I headed to? Where am I going? Where am I headed to? Like, okay, I'm headed to becoming a director, but that's the very near future. The big vision is, where am I headed to? And the third question is, why am I going there? Because someone else is doing it, or because I'm bored, or because I have nothing else to do, or because I have some vision, or because there's a deep-ended purpose, because I'm working towards something, because someone told me that this is what I'm good at, or why are you going there? So that's the number one step.
I totally agree with Richa, which says the last one is scary.
The last one is scary. I want to know why. I want to know why is the last one scary?
Because I think a lot of times we don't think about why we are doing something. And I can ask Richa if she also would like to comment. Let me just
Oh, I would love to.
Let me just find her. I think
it makes you reflect. Yes, that's exactly what we are doing right now. And many a times when you get to know why we are doing it and it's not the correct one, we usually tend to feel, oh, I'm on the wrong path. The ladder is on the wrong wall.
So I've unmuted Richa. Richa, go ahead.
Hi, Sukriti. Hi, Payal. Great to be back here after such a long time. Yeah, it's scary because, sometimes when you ask yourself this question, you realize you're not on the right path, or you're there somewhere, but, you're on a tangent, and you're going to have to really work on yourself rather than anything else to be able to get to what you want. And maybe the vision is also not so clear. That's another thing.
Right, that is true. That's how you realize that your ladder is on the wrong wall. But I'll just extend to what you said. It is scary, yes, when you ask yourself why, and then you realize, oh, it's not this. How do you know if the vision is what? Let me ask you all this. How do you know if the vision that you're seeing, or the goal that you have for your career or for your professional growth, it's really true? How do you know that? I would love to hear from you. How do you know? Now that, Richa has brought up this question, how will you know that your goal is really that goal that you want to achieve, or it's really that deep-ended purpose? Anyone? How would you know? You'll get a sense of fulfillment. Okay. It gives you a sense of calmness inside. Okay. Anyone else? else? Is hope. Okay. It drives us to achieve more. Okay. Satisfaction will come. Okay. Okay. I'll give you one. I'll give you one question. Okay. And that how will you know whether the vision that you are seeing for yourself, for your success, your business, your career growth, is it really a true vision, or is it something, midway you will give up? How will you know that? Because what Richa said is true. By the time we go there and then we realize, oh, maybe I'm on the wrong place, or maybe sometimes we feel, oh, it's just too much, I really can't go forward and I'm really tired, nothing is happening, the needle is not moving, and we begin to give up. I'll give you one question. Every single day, if you can ask yourself this question for the next 5 to 7 days, I'm sure you will have a lot of clarity. And the question is, when you have a vision or a goal and you feel, yes, this is what I want to do, I want you to ask yourself, if I do not achieve it, will it break me from inside? That's it. If the answer is continuously yes, and that you have that ache inside of you, that yes, it's going to shatter me from inside if I do not achieve that, I can almost 100% assure you, you will go that path. You will not give up. And if the answer is no, it's not going to shatter me as such. It's okay if I don't achieve it. It's fine. I'll take it as my destiny. Then it's not your true vision, at least. You may have heard it from someone gave it to you. So always ask that question to yourself. And I have someone who said, what if you had to change your vision for whatever reason? It depends. Again, I've also had many, visions that I used to feel, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, until I ultimately got to know, okay, this is what I really need to do. Your vision doesn't change. What changes is your planning and the way that you get to it. And that's why I always tell people, write your vision in pen, but write your plans in pencil. Because plans need to be flexible. If the vision is straight, that yes, it's going to shatter me from inside, it makes me restless, the point that I think I will not be able to achieve it. I just feel I don't even want to leave this world until I have not achieved that thing. There is no point in changing it then, right? So your vision is in pen, but your plans are what keep moving ahead. Today, it's the pandemic. I may have had some plans, we expanded so much in the Western world that it was time for us to expand in India. We must have had some plans. It didn't go the way it was supposed to be, but the plans were in pencil. So they are flexible to navigate and take a detour. Okay. So vision in pen, plans in pencil. Yes.
So there's a very interesting question that's also come from Sangeeta. I want to be my destiny, but circumstances have always pushed me in a different direction, and time is lost.
I think circumstances put everyone in a different direction. I don't know what the real example is, or what the real instance is, or what the real case is over here. However, this is something that I have always learned from coaching some of these leaders who we read about in the news today. Something that I've really learned from them is that your focus has to be on that vision of yours, on the purpose that you are trying to achieve, on the project that you're trying to achieve. And whatever circumstances have come, you need to take it as a detour. That's it. It's just a detour. It's just trying to tell you, this is not the way that it's supposed to go. So you've got to make some way around it and get to it. That's how I have learned from these people. Firsthand, I've witnessed from them that circumstances have come in everyone's life, whether it is you, me, anyone. But how do we take that and detour it and make some new plans? And again, I repeat, plans are in pencil, so it's very easy to take that flexibility around it. Like I said, I really don't know what the circumstance is, but this is just my thought on it.
So I think people are dying to know your story, also your real life
Yeah.
experience that made you change yourself and now you're here. So that, they want to get
Absolutely.
some examples so that they can understand how to put this in practice.
Sure. I do not much talk about myself, but since you all have asked, I will let you know. Is there any specific question that you would like to ask? So then I can give you that specific example from my own life. Please talk about yourself.
How did
Okay.
you build your vision, Payal?
That's a
What's
good
your
one.
vision statement?
Sure. Absolutely. My vision statement is so up on my website. It's there to develop transformed leaders, who innovate, who can influence and implement with speed and serenity, so that the country grows, the organization grow, and the people go. How did I get to my vision? So I will tell you this real life incidents again that happened. Maybe that will give an real example to each of you. So in the year I started working when I think it was in the year 2000 or something, when I entered the workforce, and I was working for corporate America. And I still remember, when I had finished my undergrad and grad from here, from India, and I was leaving for the US. Almost everyone was telling me that, hey, you're stepping into a country which is full of opportunities and full of successful people. And so when I landed there and I got my job and everything, there was a lot of uneasiness inside of me. No doubt I was living the American dream. Everything was fine, salary wise and everything. I was learning picking up everything. But there was a lot of uneasiness inside of me. And that uneasiness was for one reason. And that one question that started in the year of 2000 till date, that's the only question that keeps me up and keeps me going. And it's built to where I have built what it is today. And the question was, and is today even, why do we have so few exceptional leaders in any organization? And that question is on my website. That question is in every media interview I have given, whether it's the TV, whether it's anywhere. Why do we have such few exceptional leaders in the world? Come on, we are in a business era full of information. We are in a business era full of resources. We are much luckier than what our forefathers had in the business. Connections are easy. Everything is easy. Then why? What creates that gap? When we read in the news, oh, you know what? Only 5% of the people in the world are successful. So what are the rest 95% doing? They're all working hard. They are waking up every single day to achieve what they want to achieve. Everything is getting done. Then why is this gap? What is creating these gaps in the numbers? That question, since that time, and of course, at that point of time, I would not just jump out of corporate America and start working on my question. It was not possible. So every time that I was continuing my work, it kept on disturbing me. And every time I would look around and I would see, oh, in America, they spend billions of dollars on motivational talks, on tapes, on trainings. And the situation is the same, even in a country so developed. So what's causing it? That began my own research. I started to hold these small, in-house trainings in the company as I was working in, and I began to give these trainings it was free at that time. I was inside my company. I would do it. People would start using these tools and techniques that I would give them, and they would start implementing it and see a little bit of change and everything. They would come back to me. Part of it, universe has been very kind that every time that I have been in the corporate world, I was always associated with the CEOs and successful people. So I started to pick up what's going on. And then that's when it struck me. What they do at that level and what we read is totally different.
So, Payal, you have to tell us what is that difference, because we're all dying, and there are a couple of more questions. How long did
Yeah.
it first take you to get there in terms of your vision? A lot of people want to hear about how to move from idea to execution. So, I think you can also narrate that in your experience. That how did it
It
finally say, okay, let me move towards execution of this?
so what happened is, I think I stayed in corporate America for at least from 2000 to 2007 or 2008. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that if any of you are in the corporate, you should do this something like that. But and that's the time when that uneasiness came, and I had already seen that the success of the tools and techniques that I would teach, is working. The major thing that started off was that it was totally based on what you see behind here. Success is within. I had already gauged by then that people are looking outside for the skill sets, for the credentials, and everyone is going in that one direction. Whereas the truth is that your career life, my friends, is only 25% skill set and 75% of the person behind that skill set, which is you. And that's the reason I had made you do that first part of the exercise of focusing on yourself and answering these questions. We do not do that usually. And the people up there are focusing on their behaviors. They are focusing on their habits. They are focusing on their thinking, but you've got to know how to do it. Today morning, when I was speaking at one of the conferences, they asked me this simple question. They said that, what is it that we need to change? I said, you need to change your thinking, but you've got to know how to do it. The how is the difficult part. And that's when I had decided that I will leave corporate America, step into what I am doing. It was a huge struggle. If I had to sit and talk to you about my struggle, I would have done that. I do speak a little bit about my struggle in the media interviews, but not to a whole extent. But it was a huge struggle, my friends, for a simple reason, which I share it still gives me goosebumps, is that people from India are seen heads down workers in the corporate in America, okay, which means that you have an MBA or an engineering degree under your belt. I had an MBA. So you have that under your belt, your heads down, doing your work in a huge corporate, living the American dream, fine. But for them to accept someone, and this is very openly available on the media, I've said it many times, that for anyone to accept that a woman from Indian descent, which we call a woman of color here, a woman from Indian descent could be in the field of leadership, book writing, and leadership coaching, and training and speaking. It's a big no. So that was one challenge I had to keep, overcoming. But then, to be honest, America is also a place where I saw that gender biases usually die down if your content, if your work is worth it. And that's where my focus has always been. So that's how a little bit I'm telling you about my journey of where it is like and this. Tell us, how did you do that? Oh, wow. Okay. How did I do that? I don't know. I think when I connect the dots behind, I'll give you an instance. So when I started off, I had to speak at these very, very small gatherings, at business centers or something. And you will not believe it. Even, today I have thousands of people who listen to me. And at that time, there was no one in the room. I used to go all dressed up. Okay. I used to go all dressed up and land up to my place. And that time my kids were very, very small. Okay. Today they are grown. My older one is 20 years old and my younger one is 14. So at that time they were very small. I would, leave them at home and I would go, and there would be no one who would turn up. And I would come back. And there was a lot of dejections. And if any of, again, I don't know how many of you know my work or have read about it. In one of my books, I think it's the second one, I wrote very clearly, when I was explaining about leadership and success to people, I had written over there that the toughest season in anyone's career life is the season of silence. When you are doing everything, every damn thing you're doing, and there is no sign, absolutely no sign that you're on the right path. And that's the time when 90% of the people give up. And I'm just thankful I did not. There was a lot of time I wanted to go back to the corporate America because I left a very stable job, a continuous income. So now the house was running on only my husband's income. It was a desperate situation to go back there. You know, when you're earning and you don't have the checks coming, it's not a very pleasant space to be in. But then there was something inside of me that said, I've got to break that ceiling for every woman of India who is in the US. That time my vision was only in the US. Okay, I was not outside of it. That we should not be seen heads down. We should be seen as someone who could do anything that they want. And the more people told me that, oh my God, you know, no one is going to accept you, no one is going to publish your books, the more it became stronger in me. Why not? Why not I be that first woman and open the doors for anyone? Did my books get published? Oh, they got picked up by one of the top New York publishers, Routledge publishers, who publish only for corporates and leaders. Did I go to corporates to speak? Well, that's exactly what I do now. There are thousands of if you look at my clientele list, it's not on the website, everything, but they're all big companies. What I'm trying to say here, my friends, again, it's not to impress, but to express. You've got to know the how. And when someone said, how did you do that? Everything, why, you know, people ask me, why do you write books? And I say, the reason I write books is because I want to get it out. How do you get there? How do you get there? So there are certain steps that you take. And one of the steps, like I told you, you've got to maximize the season in which you are. Everything in your business is not about your credentials or your skill sets. You've got to see how you can condition yourself to work, my friends. And I hope I'm being useful in sharing these incidences with all of you here. Like I said.
No, Payal, and also we want to know what is it that the leaders were doing and what is it that they were saying and what is that big gap? Because that is what we all see, you know.
Like I said, the big gap is the thinking gap. It's the habit gap. I'll give you one example. How many of us focus on, most of us, okay, tell me if this is resonating with anyone. I always feel most of us are like Charlie Brown, you know. I don't know how many of you have seen the Charlie Brown strips, how famous they are in India, I don't know. But, you know, there is one Charlie Brown clip that says, Charlie is coming out and he's trying to practice, he's doing target practice. So he takes the bow and the arrow and he starts shooting the arrow, and wherever the arrow lands, he puts a circle around it, and then he keeps doing that. So the arrows land everywhere. And then Lucy comes out and she says, okay, Charlie, so what are you doing? And he said, oh, I'm doing target practice. This is not how you do target practice, Charlie. That's what she says. So you need to take the bow and the arrow first. You need to go and draw the target, and then you need to pull the arrow back and then put it up there. And he says, yeah, I know, but that's something it's so hard. If you do it my way, at least you will land up somewhere. And I have seen in reality, most of us is, most of us are like Charlie Brown. Okay, in reality, and this is global, I am speaking about, not about you, me. Most of us are like Charlie Brown. We feel that, okay, at least we got some business. At least I reached to the manager's level. At least as a woman, I'm allowed to work. Oh, at least my family is supporting me. Somewhere the arrow has gone and landed, and that's fine. That's my target. That is not your target. One of the things that I have seen the successful leaders do is they have a lot of clarity around their vision. They know exactly where they are going. They know exactly what they are supposed to be doing. How about you? How about me? I did not have the clarity early on. I'll be very, very honest on that. And I did not know exactly whether I am supposed to go this direction or that direction. So how do you get that clarity inside of you? How is it that you're going to work on that? So one of the things that you want to focus on is your actions. Okay, you don't want to be like Charlie Brown, that okay, I'll go online and connect and see who the people are, and then I'll keep my connections. No. And I always tell people, do not network just because you have to network. There is no point in going to networking groups or anything of that sort if you do not do it the correct way. It's not about exchanging cards or emails or getting to know each other, or just having coffee together. That's out there on the business platforms and Google and everything. Those are for people who want to be average. But if you want to go ahead, then you want to build great rapport with people. What's your great rapport with people? What is it that you are talking to them about? Where is it that you are heading to? And these are the things I used to practice very early on in my own career. And that helped me when I stepped out of corporate America, because of the rapport that I had built with people. And again, it's I think in the third one I have written about winner's circle, that how you create your own winner's circle, and how do you really put that, it's not out yet, but how do you really create that winner's circle? Those are some of the ways you want to move ahead. And I'm just saying everything very quickly because I know there will be some more questions, so I'm not going deep into anything.
Amita, go ahead. I know you have a question, and if anybody else has questions, please do let me know. I will start unmuting. Go ahead,
Thank
Amita.
you, Sukriti. Hi, and
This
hi,
is a,
Payal.
this is a
Yes, I have
wonderful
a
audience.
question here. And can you give me some tips? Because I've just started my own venture. I'm an educator. And after hearing all your experiences, could you give me some useful tips from where you started from scratch to where you are right now successfully?
Sure. So you have your own venture, is it?
Yes, I've just started.
Oh, okay. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So it's a great space to be in and a great road ahead. So when you're starting off, here's something I'll tell you out of my own experience. Even if you do know people and people know you, at the time when you approach for your venture, for your business, don't be dejected that they are going to say a no to you. Okay, because you may feel that, oh, I know this person so well, we built such a great rapport, and then what happened, he or she is not supporting me. That happens majorly when you go on your own. And when we go on our own, we feel, oh, you know what, I have these hundreds of people who love my idea, and I'm going to pitch it out to them, I'm going to take this step. And they're the same people who are like, and then you're like, okay, weren't you the same person who liked my idea? So not that they are wrong in their way. They have their own limitations of understanding your idea. Like they say, it's no point giving big ideas to people who with average thinking. So that's how I would take it. Oh, they have an average thinking, my idea is better. So, when I started out and people told me it's a career suicide, that you're leaving the corporate work and going into something which will never be accepted. And that's how, when I slowly realized, oh, my idea is being, shared with the wrong people. Not that they are wrong. Even if you would have searched it up on Google at that time, it would have never shown you a woman of Indian descent doing this. So the idea here is you're going to be working on your own for a very, very long time until you build a team. For me to build a team of 10, around 8 in US and 2 year, it did take time, to set that up and to work. So initially you're going to wear every hat that you're going to feel that pinch of entrepreneurship, because it's a very lonely journey, and so is a person who becomes a CEO. The only thing you could do is keep that vision in your mind and keep your actions ready, that this is what I'm going to do, and never ever, and this is for everyone, never ever think of the how. I can almost guarantee you, you will never get the answer. If you see that big vision that, oh, this is what I want to do, and then you look at your reality and you say, oh, how am I going to reach that? My reality is something else. I can tell you, you will not even take the first step. So never think of the how. The how is not your business. That's the business of the universe, the higher power, or anyone that you name up there. That's their business to get you to your vision. Your duty is to stick like super glue to your vision, to your passion, to your purpose. That's your duty. How much you can stick to it? What's the next best step I can take from this space? I have started my venture. What's just the next best step? Not 2 steps ahead or 10 steps ahead, just the next best step. And then from that space, what's now the next best step? You will find life easy and calm, and you'll be able to do it. And you should also be financially strong. And I say this to all women, because women usually come back to me and say, oh, when it comes to finance, my husband is hiring, or someone is hiring, or I don't know this. No. You've got to take care of the finance, period. So that's a little bit of the starting that I can tell you, dear.
So Kajal also had a question. Ma'am, what makes you this much stronger and confident in life that whatever comes in your life, you never give up?
No, it's not that I don't give up. I have given up many times in my life. Very openly, I've written it in the books also. There is no way, there is no person who will not give up in their life. If someone comes and tells me that, I would never even buy into it. For a simple reason, we are all human beings. We are made up of emotions. Fear is one of the biggest emotions, and so is anxiety. And giving up is a human trait that happens. So I think for me, it was the fear of failure. It's very strange. My third book is named on winning, and where I've written that it's the fear of failure that puts a lot of people into that space of not wanting to give up. That's number one. And I think that deep-ended purpose at that point of time in my life was that I want to break this thing that women of Indian descent cannot be in this field. So I think somewhere that became so strong, it became like a, I don't know what's the right word for it, but it became like my,
like a calling?
No, not like a calling also. I don't know what's the right word I could use for it, but it became more like a thing that, no, I've got to get this done. That's it. I just didn't see anything beyond that. It was not the people. It was not getting people become successful at that time. Nothing. Obsession. Okay, I'll take that. But, you want to make sure that, no, I really want to break that ceiling. I want to see for myself. See, one thing is very clear in your life, and my life, and in your life, is that you first have to live for yourself. You've got to fill your cup first. I cannot expect to make people successful if I am not. I cannot tell people the path and tell them this is how you do it if I am not able to do it for myself first. So I think that became that major thing. And after that was achieved, after that, it was always a very, very, very deep-ended purpose of making a difference in the lives of people, that everyone can do it, and this is how you do it. And in 2019, I started off with with my podcast, and today we have some of the world's top executives from India, from US, from Canada, from everywhere coming onto that podcast, and they share their journeys of how they reached the CEO position. How did they really grow into what they are doing? So because now that thing has changed. Now it's all about giving, about really working with companies and making sure that they succeed, the people succeed in their lives. And I really, now it's all today when I am here, even after doing this for so many years, over more than 15 years now, one thing that I had in mind is, how will I make a difference in the lives of people who are here today to listen to me? And it is my sincere apologies that I could not be there earlier. We had to reschedule that session. Sukriti was very kind enough to do it because of the COVID situation that I was in. But it's all just one thing. How will I make a difference in the lives of these people who are here? So your things will keep changing. Your purpose will keep evolving with time.
Sunita had a question. Sunita, go ahead.
Thank you, Sukriti. Payal, you are leading a great journey, not only for yourself, but for so many other people in this world. And I congratulate you for that, for universe having chosen you to do that. But I would like to know if you have made a difference in any leader who has become from ordinary to exceptional with your coaching and help. It would be a great, experience coming from you.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great question to ask. And are these the real people? Yes, they're all on my website who have written about, what worked and how they hesitated first to even go on that path of taking that coaching and seeing what it is. And when they completed it, what was the difference in them? One of the things I focus on is transformation. I do not teach anyone skill sets. I do not teach anyone how you're going to do it and where. My major aim is to help you transform your actions by telling you how to get there, and second, by transforming your thinking. So I will give you an example. There is this one person who I was doing coaching with from Amazon in the US, and then when she spoke to me, she had this great vision, a very great vision of doing something big in the L&D department, not just for the company that she was in, but also overall. She wanted to have this L&D department, the way they function and everything changed. So during the coaching session, at that time, she was a manager. I don't think she was a senior manager also. I think, or maybe she was a senior manager at that time when she approached me. And when she told me her vision of this is what she wants to do, she had no idea of what it takes to get there. And the only thing that she took in the coaching was that she wants to achieve that goal of what she's doing. And today, when she is there, what I have spoken to her has nothing got to do with, work on the skills, go and get this done. No. How is she going to go step by step with it? What are some of the ways? Why do we think we have successes within leadership coaching? Is for a very simple reason. How are you transforming your thinking so that you can transform the world? So, those are some real examples even on the website, who have written out there that how they were so hesitant in doing these things and how it changed. Akansha, whose story I shared with you, is one such person and is doing successfully well today, even in the pandemic.
Well, that's awesome. But Payal, unfortunately, we're always out of time, and I know we always have so many questions. So, any closing thoughts as we end for today?
Let me do this for this group. I'm just typing this out here. This is nothing got to do with reflection, but because this is a group that seems very keen on working with themselves, I am putting up here. It's an exercise that you can do. I don't know whether it is open on my website or not also, but in case you just go in there, you can download that workbook, but sincerely do it. Sincerely work on those exercises there and see if it changes the way you are thinking about your business or about your work. And of course, it's there, Raji. Oh, it's there. Okay. So it's there. Like I said, it's not with reflection, but it will help you with reflection on there. And then, of course, you can, always be in touch with me on LinkedIn and Instagram. But here's what I want to really, really talk to you and close this out, like Sukriti said. As you begin to spend time with yourself, my friends, and you begin to work not on your job, but on yourself, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be more visible. Okay. And the more visible that you are, the more you will shine, the more light will be around you. Do not dim that light of visibility. It's going to hurt people. People are going to not like seeing you, up there. They're going to, it's going to pain them. It's going to want them to pull you back and to get you back to where they are. But that's what you want to be strong enough in. The more you reflect, the more you will gain insights. The more insights you will gain, the more clearer your path will be. And the more you will be unstoppable. You've got to know how to maximize yourself and never ever let that light dim just because someone else is not happy with it. So thank you so much. You all have been a great audience. I cannot thank Sukriti enough for inviting me here to really be a part of your lives and to be with you. I really hope we stay connected. LinkedIn, Instagram, they're only the two places I am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the session. Would love your feedback. We always love to hear from you. And please keep sending us and telling us what kind of sessions you'd like us to do. And thank you, Payal. We're going to be looking forward to hopefully having you back very, very soon with us.
Sure, Sukriti, and this is a great platform that you have started. It is it takes courage to do something like this and to keep going. And I think you said 200 and something sessions. That's a huge applause for you, actually, for that. It's
I
not
think a
an
huge
easy
applause
task.
to all of the people that keep joining us, thanking
Yes.
them for their support, and they give us that motivation and that, to continue.
Fantastic audience. I enjoyed every conversation and I really hope I was of value to each of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wishing
Thank
everybody
you.
a very, very good weekend.
Love you all.